Hello and welcome to another episode of Autocar Professional Dialogue. Today we have with us Mr. Ashish Gupta from Volkswagen India. Mr. Gupta, thank you so much for sparing out the time.
Always a pleasure.
And first of all, congratulations, you've unveiled the Virtus in the Indian market. So what is the company's expectations from this new model? You're entering the mid-size sedan space.
G.
So what exactly are your expectations in terms of volumes as well as the market share with the Virtus?
I think before we go into volumes and market shares, it's important to understand what kind of a product the Virtus is. I think it's a very strong package and a very differentiated offering in the premium mid-size sedan segment. If you look at the entire package, it is big by design, whether it is dimensions, whether it is features, whether it is performance. It comes loaded standard with our TSI technology, which is very differentiated. Both the variants of both the lines, the dynamic and performance line, equipped with TSI engines, turbocharged engines, very strong offering. I think that's how I see this car actually reigniting the so-called premium mid-size sedan segment, which has been a strong segment over the years, but due to lack of options or a strong differentiated product or a European product in that segment has been actually stagnant. So I think the Virtus will definitely end up reigniting that segment. As far as volumes is concerned, we are looking at close to 12 to 15% segment share of this segment.
Okay, so when you say that the Virtus is going to be reigniting that space, so do we also see the overall volumes in that space growing with the Virtus and also the Skoda Slavia coming in?
No, definitely. Whenever a strong and differentiated product enters into the market, it ends up growing the market and the segment per se. With these two strong products and especially the Virtus, I think it's a reason for customers to look at this body style once again. And with the kind of package it has, it is a strong chance that the customers will actually choose the Virtus over anything else available in the market. So definitely this will end up growing the segment.
So could you quantify that?
So if you look at the premium mid-size sedan segment, last year it was at around 90,000 cars annually, which was, by the way, a 28% growth over 2020.
Right.
With the entry of the Virtus and our cousin from our sister brand, I think that segment has the potential to grow to 150,000.
And is that also going to take your capacity utilization at the plant? Is it also going to increase that further?
Of course, we have a production capacity of close to 200,000, including domestic and exports.
Right.
With the introduction of the Virtus and our sister brands cars as well, I'm sure we are going to reach peak capacity soon.
Right. And are you also looking at markets where you would be exporting the Virtus out of India?
Yes, definitely. As I've said in my interactions today, we will be exporting the Virtus across 5 continents to more than 25 countries.
Right. And in that sense, Mr. Gupta, then you're manufacturing the Virtus in India. Right now we are seeing a lot of challenges around supply chain and also the geopolitical issue which is unfolding, with the war between Russia and Ukraine. So in the near term, are you expecting or are you foreseeing any sort of challenges in terms of overall procurement of parts?
See, I think challenges is nothing new. In the last 2.5 years itself has been challenging. First with the corona pandemic, then with the semiconductor, which by the way was a fallout of the corona pandemic. So over the last 2 years, I think there's been a lot of learning on how to manage these crises as well. When I say managing, it is about how do you make sure that you have alternate supply chains available? How do you make sure that you are able to change your variant mix in line with the supply constraints that you might have? So that's how we will continue to manage the situation. But if I look at the overall semiconductor topic, first of all, the situation has definitely improved from Q4 of last year. Till Q4 of last year, we had visibility of only 2 weeks, next 2 weeks production.
Right.
But this year it has already improved to 4 to 6 weeks. Still far from the ideal of 12 to 16 weeks. Any automobile company needs a 12 to 16 weeks planning cycle to be able to manage the supply and demand. So we are far from ideal, but situation is definitely better. And I hope that the situation continues to improve, which by the way the group foresees as the second half of this year is when the situation is going to be much better.
Okay. So at the group level, are allocation of chips right now more for the Indian market just because you're in the launch phase of this critical model?
No, definitely. When you're launching a new car to the market, you have to make sure that you provide a definite volume so that the initial demand can be met, and that is where being part of a large group also helps us. So the group has been kind enough to support us during the launch of the Taigun and during the Virtus launch as well.
Sure. Mr. Gupta, would you be able to share the overall development cost of this particular model, because you've kind of developed it on the MQB A0iN, which is the highly localized platform in India. So if you could share the cost of development of this model.
Cost of development, I don't know the numbers, but if you look at our investments made for the India 2.0, we have invested close to 1 billion euros.
Right.
And that investment goes into development. It goes into factory capacity. It goes into a lot of other things that surround building the supply chain. So that is the kind of investment more than 8,000 crores has been made to bring these India 2.0 cars to the market.
Right. And with that investment into localizing these products, so are you also looking at making the entire ownership cycle or the cost of ownership kind of cheaper for the end customer, because compared to the previous cars, for example, the Vento?
Yeah. Definitely, if you look at the cost of ownership aspect, and I worked in five years in after sales before I moved to sales and to this position right now, that's been always a feedback from the customers. And consciously, when we conceptualized the India 2.0 project, we actually brought this part into focus in the design of the cars itself. When I say design, it means in the terms of localization needed. It also meant in terms of how do we see child part availability. Earlier we were constrained because of a lower level of localization to change assemblies, for example, instead of child parts. So with the India 2.0 and MQB, we actually focused on making sure that we have more and more child parts available so that the cost of repair goes down. Parallelly, what we also worked on factually is the reduction of overall parts prices. We worked on reduction of engine oil prices for all our products. So put together, all these initiatives have brought down the cost of ownership by almost close to 25 to 26%. And we are very competitive with anyone in the market now.
Right. And sticking with the after sales, with the servicing part, so with now the Virtus as well as the Taigun, which has just been launched a few months back. So what is the plan for expanding the network, both in terms of the sales as well as after sales for Volkswagen?
So, network expansion doesn't happen overnight. It's a long process. So we started this process almost 3 years back. If I remember, end of 2017, we were at around 112 touch points across India. And our plan was that before the launch of the India 2.0, we go to 150 touch points, which we successfully achieved, by the way, by the end of last year. So with 150 touch points, I am more than equipped to handle the volumes that I have planned and have a capacity to sell up to 100,000 cars. With these 150 touch points, I am also covering 80% of the geography of India. Now, on the service front, all these 150 touch points also ensure that service is provided to more than 80% of the geography in India. The rest of the uncovered parts we are covering through 15 mobile service units, which are available across the country to be able to go to these locations and provide service to customers. All my dealers are now equipped with what we call Volkswagen assistance cars, so we can provide doorstep service. So making our service more and more accessible.
Right. So is that an area which you're seeing is going to pick up in the coming future? Because customers, I think COVID has given, especially it has kind of brought this habit of the person not wanting to go out.
Yeah.
So do you see a trend wherein there is an uptick in this doorstep service?
So doorstep service can be in two parts. Doorstep service could be we take our equipment and tools and do minor services at the dealership. Doorstep service also means pick up and drop, for example. What matters to the customer is convenience. That I don't want to go out. Can somebody pick up my car and bring it? So definitely on pick up and drop and doorstep services, I combine all of them under doorstep services. I would say the take rate of these kind of services has gone up from around 25 to 30% before the pandemic to around 45% now. And I think it will stabilize at around 50 to 60%.
Sure. Mr. Gupta, one more aspect which has sort of plagued the European players in India is that, the transparency when a customer eventually takes the car for servicing. So, the lack of trust perhaps, or maybe transparency. So, are you doing any efforts the company is doing on that front, to increase the transparency with customers?
No, totally. And the way to improve transparency is to put information out. Okay, and that is where I think we have made a lot of transformation in the way we handle this aspect. We started what we call the Sarvottam 2.0 initiatives in 2018, under which we implemented close to 40 digital solutions.
Okay.
Out of these 40, very proud to say almost 25 are related to services. initiatives like online booking of services, initiatives like service scam. So today, if there is any work needed on your car, the dealership actually sends a video to the customer showing him what is needed in the car, and the customer can actually give online approval. Okay. Initiatives like service price calculator on our website. Today you can go to our website and see very clearly what each service will cost, and then the same price is what the dealership will charge. Okay, so these are the kind of initiatives we have taken to make sure that our services, our offerings, our whole product offering also is very transparent to the customers.
Great. Thank you so much, Mr. Gupta, for that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.